Hello there. Lamborghini is one of the most popular luxury sports car brands on the planet. And the story of how Ferruccio Lamborghini started his company is as wild as a ride in a Lambo Countach. Actor Frank Grillo is helping to share this story as Ferruccio himself in the new film Lamborghini, the man behind the legend, which can be seen in select theaters, on digital, and on demand starting Friday, November 18th. Frank joins me now to talk about the movie. What's up, Frank?
Hey, Trey.
How you doing?
How's Austin?
Austin is great. Have you ever been before?
Oh, many times.
Yeah? You have something favorite about Austin?
Bars? No,
So-
it's a great I mean, it's just a singular place. It's the food, the culture. I love it. I got a bunch of friends who moved there recently.
Yeah, it's one of those places that draws just a wide variety of people, and bars are a pretty good starting point for this place. Let's be perfectly honest about that. Frank, so you talk about all the great things in Austin. I have to admit, when researching the background for this film, I found myself very jealous that you got to spend several months over in Italy, Rome, perhaps elsewhere as well. You're a guy who is obviously on the record as really taking good care of yourself, but I imagine that the diet, that caution gets thrown into the wind when you're in a place like Italy.
You would think so, right? But I had these custom suits made, and I didn't eat pasta once, and I didn't eat much bread. I basically stuck to fish, oddly. And I was dating someone at the time, and she was with me, and she had pasta twice a day, so I had to watch somebody eat that amazing food. But I kept it clean, and I trained every day. I trained at Fioramonte Boxing Club in Rome every day, and I kind of lived the same life that I would live here. And it was. I recently went back to Rome for the film festival, and I was there for 10 days, and I ate a lot of food that I didn't eat when I went the first time.
All right, I'm glad to hear that you got that the second time around.
Yeah.
How much different is the boxing gym experience in Rome versus where you train in either California or New York?
Yeah, it's much different. It's great. It's just, when I train here, I train around a lot of pros and top level amateurs and stuff, and it's incredibly serious, and it's great training. But it's more of a community. It's more regular guys just staying in shape than it is pros.
So knowing that you were playing Ferruccio Lamborghini, the question obviously becomes, does he try to pull off the Italian accent? There are plenty of examples throughout the course of film history where actors do a good job with that, and some don't even try. I mean, Tom Cruise just went straight American accent in Valkyrie back in 2008. But you not only tried it, I think you pulled it off, man. What do you give credit for helping with the Italian accent?
Yeah, I mean, basically the way I sounded is the way my relatives sound. So that's how my relatives speak broken English, almost to the T. So it was kind of, my father's born in Italy, but he's from Calabria, which is a bit southern. And I had a dialect coach, but my ear to it, because I grew up around Italians, my grandparents didn't speak English. So I grew up with it. So I listen to it when I see the film, and I see a couple places where I slip, but it was fairly natural for me because it was so, I grew up around it.
That's cool. And it was also really interesting to learn more about the guy who created this company, Lamborghini himself. There were a lot of surprising details from his life. Was there anything that you found yourself surprised by when learning about this figure that you were playing?
Well, I was when I initially learned it, and now I know how it's kind of a famous tale. But how when he went to Ferrari, having owned 7 or 8 of them, and he made him a proposition that his tractor company and Ferrari should kind of join, and they could, and he was just kind of dismissed like a peasant, and that was the genesis of this guy who had no, I really had no, was not in a position where he needed to go start a car company. He was very successful. And that was the genesis of Lamborghini, was Ferrari. Telling, it's kind of cool.
It is. And Lamborghini starting as a tractor company as well. I think that's just one of those random pieces of information that you would never expect, considering just how high profile the sports cars are now.
I know. And he's also in the and it's Lamborghini air conditioning and heating.
Hmm.
He's in that business too. So very wealthy guy, very successful guy long before he started the car company.
So I know you talked about this with Rich Eisen on his show a couple weeks ago, but you did get to drive that beautiful blue Lamborghini Countach. That
Yep,
was the only Lambo that you were allowed to drive, though, because the other Lamborghinis that you were getting rides in were as much as $28 million. Does a
correct.
$28 million ride feel that much more important than one
Well,
that's $400,000?
and what I think it was the historical importance. These were kind of museum cars that we had to put on flatbed trucks and film it that way because you don't want me driving a $30 million automobile. And it's a little intimidating getting in these things. It's scary. But boy, were they beautiful. They were beautiful. But I did drive the Countach.
So I guess a final question here, Frank. What do you love about this film?
What I love about the film is how honestly it tells the story of Ferruccio Lamborghini and how imperfect his life was while striving for perfection to make this automobile. It was a really interesting story that does deserve to be told. So I'm glad we made this film.
He is Frank Grillo, the star of Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. It is out in select theaters, on demand, and on digital November 18th. I'm glad it gets that theatrical release. I think this is the sort of movie that works really well in a theater. Frank, thank you so much for the time today, and congratulations on this film.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Gentleman Jesus to the intro and outro music. Hear more of his work at gentlemanjesus.com. And thanks to you for tuning in. For more of the show and to connect on social media, visit booksonpod.com. We'll talk to you next time on Books on Pod.